My wife had an affair with her coworker while she was pregnant with our baby. Posted by UB Blizzard 8719. Long-time reader, first-time poster. Not sure what I'm looking for. I guess just advice and support. Hopefully this is the right subreddit. I can't believe I'm posting this. It doesn't seem real, and I've read similar stories before, never imagining it could happen to me, but here it goes. Quick backstory. I, 32M, first met my wife, 31F, in November 2006. I was 19 and a college sophomore. She was 18 and a freshman. We have been living together for 11 years. Owned our home together for 6. We have a 3-year-old daughter together and found out she was pregnant in September 2018 with my son. He was born June 6, 2019. Over the past couple of months, I felt like we had both been distant from each other. I didn't think anything too bad, just not talking as much, having more smaller fights, generally just feeling off. I felt rejected and unwanted a lot, but blamed it on her being pregnant and just needing space. I think I started to feel this way around February when we had a somewhat big argument. We finally talked about some of these issues a couple of weeks ago, how we had felt distant, and she said she had felt alone and unsupported. I told her I understood where she was coming from, acknowledged I wanted to work on things, communicate more, and just be a better husband for her. I really wanted to work on things and make everything perfect. I wanted her to feel like she could always talk to me, and that I never wanted her to feel alone. I felt terrible for how she had felt without realizing there was such a problem. She wanted to start couples counseling, which is scheduled for Thursday. She had even said she noticed things improving and that I had really been trying since we talked. Then just 2 days ago, she admitted to me she started having an affair with a coworker in November, which lasted until March. I was so shocked and in disbelief. I couldn't imagine her ever doing that, especially while she was pregnant with my son. I feel so disgusted. I know things weren't perfect the last couple of months, but I never realized there was an issue as early as November or bad enough to have an affair. I feel so hurt and betrayed that she was seeing someone else while we were a family together. We had family outings, buying each other Christmas gifts, bringing our daughter to see Santa at the mall, bringing her to her first haircut appointment together, her 3rd birthday. But during all of that time, she was seeing someone else. It all feels like it's been a lie. She put on a happy face and continued on like normal. I never would have guessed she was having an affair for those months. I know things between us weren't perfect, and there were times I could have been better and took her for granted, but I never could have expected this. November is also when we stopped having sex. She told me at the time she was uncomfortable and worried about bleeding. I was disappointed but wanted to support her and didn't make a big deal out of it. But it turns out she was rejecting me because she was seeing somebody else. After talking for the past day, she's told me she's felt alone and unsupported for a while, maybe for a year before the affair. I honestly never knew that was how she felt. I feel so destroyed and hurt that she never even talked to me, that she had felt that way for so long. So betrayed that she was seeing someone else for months while putting on a show and acting like things were okay at our house. She said she started seeing this other guy because she felt connected to him but distant from me for so long. It hurts that she could feel that way while we've built a family together and been together for almost 13 years. That she could so easily feel connected to a guy she only knew at work for 2 months, but not her husband who was at home taking care of our house and daughter. I know I haven't been perfect, and I can be distant at times, but I feel like I never did anything to deserve this. I honestly don't know what to do. I'm torn if I should give our marriage one last chance, even though I don't know if I could ever forgive and trust her again, or just call it quits and respect myself enough to not be with a cheater. Top relevant comments. Comment her. She is just making excuses for her behavior. Cheating and destroying your family has no excuse. Don't let her put the blame on you. You should call her out on her behavior, and you should openly say how you feel now and how you felt unwanted when she distanced herself from you. Immediately ask her to do an STD test. If you are having doubts about the paternity of the baby, then test that as well. Don't be surprised if she had more than one affair or if it went much deeper than you thought. Commenter 2, why did she confess? Ops response. We talked a couple of weeks ago and she said she wanted to go to couples counseling. I figured it was just to work on feeling distant and working on communication. That was fine with me and I was completely open to it. Then she brought up the affair the other day because she wanted me to know before we went into counseling. Additional info from Op. She told me it originally started as an emotional affair in September, right around when she found out she was pregnant. I feel so lost, and devastated that my partner of 13 years could betray me like this. That these last couple of months I have been living were a lie. That while we were living as a family, going to the zoo, celebrating Thanksgiving, Christmas, our daughter's birthday, while I was in the hospital for her C-section, she had been having SGS and talking to someone else. She even told me he texted her after the C-section asking how it went. She told me the first time she was with him was right after a work function. I looked at my text history from that day, and it was so normal. All she said was, "Hey, about to leave work. Going to stop for food on the way home. See you soon." But no, she was out having sex with someone else while I was home watching our daughter. November was also the last time my wife and I had sex. She stopped having sex with me because she was with someone else. She even said to me, "I'm not an SLT. I won't have sex with multiple people at the same time. That's why I stopped having sex with you." I always thought that she just wasn't up for it because of being pregnant. We've been talking a lot the past few days on how we've got here. She's basically told me she's felt extremely distant and disconnected from me, like I don't like or listen to her anymore. She said she started feeling this way around SEEP 2017. Ironically, this was right around the time I terribly injured my back. For months, I could barely walk. I couldn't put my shoes on. My leg would feel like it was on fire and go numb. I still have chronic 24/7 pain to this day. I know I wasn't myself during this time. I was extremely depressed and would cry a lot. Sometimes I would lash out in anger because of my pain. I wasn't able to be there for her because of what I was going through. Still, I never realized things had been that bad between us. I know we had rough patches but thought we moved past it. I also know I haven't been the best husband. She always does 90% of the housework, drops and picks up our daughter from daycare. I stopped wearing my wedding ring a while ago, not for any good reason, just that it was uncomfortable and bothered me. I can be emotionally distant and dismissive at times. Sometimes I'm really only affectionate with her when I wanted to have sex. She also said the last straw with feeling any connection with me was how my reaction to her finding out she was pregnant was so cold. I pretty much just said, "Yeah, not surprised. I know how it works. I feel so bad for my 3-year-old daughter for what is going to happen. Her entire life has been her parents in a single-family home. And I can't believe this is where my partner and I are after so many years together. Am I completely insane for even considering trying to work things out between my wife and I?" Update. 5 months, 2 weeks later. I've posted here a couple times over the past few months, but I'm still struggling with the anger over everything. We were together for 13 years, married for 7. Then she had an emotional and physical affair with a coworker while pregnant with our son. D-Day was when he was 1 month old. Yes, he's mine. Did the paternity test. After putting the pieces together, I learned she was out seeing AP while I was home with our older daughter. That she was texting AP saying she loved him while we were in the hospital together for her C-section. I'm so shocked and angry with everything, especially that this was going on while pregnant. I was doing the things I was supposed to be doing, like coming home early from work so she could go to prenatal yoga and just generally trying to be supportive. But now I feel so used, so angry that while she was having an affair, she still had the nerve to complain to me that I wasn't getting the baby room ready fast enough. That she told me the reason she didn't want to be intimate with me during the pregnancy was because she was having an affair. I thought she just didn't want to be intimate because she was, pregnant and not feeling it. I thought I was being supportive. We went to a couple marriage counseling sessions, although I don't really know why. While in session, she said to me, "You need to see me as a co-parent, not as a romantic partner. She's just so cold and acts like she doesn't care at all about what she did." Then I shouldn't have, but I read some of her texts to AP. She was telling AP I was toxic apparently for being so angry at the situation and just generally complaining about me to him. My son triggers me, although it's gotten better. It's just so hard knowing he was there. My wife told AP how I was struggling with things, and AP was making comments like, "Lol, does he even know how to be a father?" This is what the guy who was hooking up with my pregnant wife said. We have been living apart for several months now, but the anger still feels so strong. Sometimes I feel so overwhelmed from everything. How could I ever cope with this guy being part of my kids' lives after what's been done, and said top relevant comments commenter op, "When are you leaving that nasty, disgusting wife of yours? She's effing another man while carrying your son. How many months along did she continue to let him inside of her? Did that douche wear a condom? Are they still effing?" Op's response. We have been living separately for about 3 months now, but still see each other often because of the young kids. She claims she stopped being physical with AP when she was about 6 months along, but then I don't really have a reason to believe what she says either. She admitted to no protection. As far as I know, she isn't seeing him anymore. But again, I don't necessarily believe her. I have a suspicion she is still seeing him and just doesn't want me to know. Commenter 2, is there any way you can expose them? Go no contact with her unless it is about the children and see a therapist. I would share this information with at the very least your own family. It may seem petty, but it's a very good alternative to seeking revenge in a way that can jeopardize your future. Ops response. I've really only told my close friends and family the whole situation. I definitely thought about blowing it up and exposing it to as many people as possible, though mostly for petty revenge, I guess. But then I feel like I'll just look like the vindictive ex, so I'm not really sure what I could realistically do. Also, AP is single, so I can't out him to anyone. Additional info from Op. My father was also a cheater. He was cheating on my mom while she was pregnant with both me and my older sister. I always knew my father cheated, and that's why my parents divorced when I was only a few months old. Funny how now I also divorced when my son was around the same age that I was for most of my life. I remember my dad being active in my life and being a supportive parent. Even though he lived 3 hours away, we talked on the phone a lot and he would come visit most every weekend. I think he changed a lot and now even says he has no idea what he was thinking when he was younger. But lately, I feel like I have a lot of resentment towards him for doing to my mom what my ex-wife did to me. Maybe it's irrational for something that was 30+ years ago, but I guess how can I talk to him and feel supported when he did the same thing? The other night my daughter was in a Christmas play at church. So of course my family was there, but I just felt so awkward and alone sitting there with my cheating wife, cheating father, and my stepmom, who was the AP 30+ years ago. It's been rough. Commenter 3, how have you been, Blizzard? What is your situation now? Ops response. Doing okay, I guess, all things considered. Divorced with 50% custody now and still living in the same house. No mention of AP in quite some time. I don't think he's in the picture anymore. I'm not necessarily angry at this point, just sad. Really, really sad. Commenter 3, that's really tough. A friend of mine was in that sharing house with X situation for a year, 25 years ago, but he moved on since remarried and had another 2 kids. Much happier now than he was in the first marriage. The older 2 have done okay. The youngest 2 are now out of school. Ops response. I guess I could have worded that better. I mean, I am still in the same house as when we were married, but she moved out. We were still living together for a few months after D-Day, though. But it's weird because she moved back into the apartment we used to live in together before buying this house. Side post 5 months, 3 weeks later. It's hard not to blame myself. I had seriously injured my back herniated disc a year before the affair started. I know I really wasn't present during that time. There was a period of a few months where I was struggling to walk. After work, I would pretty much just come home and crash on the couch to try to alleviate the pain. I stopped sleeping in our bed. Something about it made my pain worse. She started doing pretty much all of the housework. It definitely took a toll on my mental health, but it really hurts that when we talked after the affair, she said, I don't think you realize how hard that was for me. I could barely walk, but it was hard for her. Then she said, I still needed you to support me. I mean, okay, I get that. But I guess it just makes me feel like it's my fault for not being present during my own struggle. It makes me feel like it didn't matter what I was going through. I still had to be her support person when I needed help and support. But I guess the silver lining is learning that she couldn't support me in my time of need. I guess I feel like I was only worth keeping around while on top of my game. Or maybe it really is my fault and I'm just using my back injury as an excuse. Top relevant comments. Commenter. She must have skipped over the in sickness and in health part. Second update 1 year 8 months later. I've been living alone for over 2 years now, still in the house we originally bought together. I also have our 2 kids 50% of the time. Even on days I don't have the kids, I still get to bring them to and from school daycare every day. Things seem pretty normal and routine at this point, and I don't get triggered anymore. The best part is that I feel like I can bond better with my son now. He used to be such a trigger, and it would be really difficult to feel bonded knowing my ex-wife was carrying him during the affair. I haven't heard anything about AP since the divorce. I think that fell apart pretty quickly once everything came out. I started dating about a year ago and met someone that I get along really well with. She's met the kids a few times, and they really like her. We've even all done some small day trips together. It does seem a little funny now that my ex-wife is single after the affair while I am dating. I guess I'm sad on the kids' behalf that they have to grow up with divorced parents, and obviously it's something I never wanted for them. But overall, things aren't too bad and I'm trying my best for them. Top relevant comments. Commenter Op, glad to hear you are doing well. I think stories and updates like these help those going through it realize there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have to answer this, but I am curious. Have you ever asked her if it was the affair worth it in the end? I respect if you have not, as she may take that as an opening, or has she ever hinted at anything like this? Congrats again on your progress. Op's response. I don't think I have ever outright asked her that or know how she would respond. In the past, she had said things like, well, we were going to get divorced anyway. So I would guess to her the affair wasn't what tore things apart as much as it was happening eventually anyway. Commenter 2, did you see it the same way? Op's response, definitely not. I thought things had been a little off for a few months, but I didn't really think much about it at the time. I just figured there were a lot of changes coming with the second baby and being pregnant. She just wanted space. I didn't think divorce was inevitable, and I especially didn't suspect anything of an affair. Commenter 3, how do you hand off the kids every time? Does she try to strike up conversations? Has she shown any type of remorse at all? Op's response. Depending on the day, she will either pick up the kids from me since I get them from school or drop them off at each other's house. I might be inside her house for a couple of minutes to drop off. Most of the conversations we have 99% of the time are related to the kids. There might be a couple of other things here and there, but not much, and nothing really involved. Remorseful, that's hard to answer. I don't think she has really seemed apologetic since she moved out. I put this in another comment, but she used to say things like, well, we were going to get divorced anyway. So I think to her, with or without the affair, we would have wound up in the same place. Commenter 3, are they still working together? Op's response, no, she wound up taking another job pretty soon post-divorce because she needed the better pay. As far as I know, she hasn't spoken to him since. Commenter 4, do you have the support of your family? How is your relationship with your father? Have you ever talked about what happened to him? Op's response, yeah, I guess I wouldn't say I'm super close to my family, but they are supportive. I've talked to my dad about stuff, but it is a little weird because he cheated on my mom and left when I was a newborn. So it's kind of the reverse situation. I'm reasonably close to him otherwise, though.